I'm going to be the absolute saviour of Barcelona and do a full summer rebuild with them ahead of the 2022-23 season. Although given their recent financial struggles, this rebuild might actually involve us selling more players than bringing players in. I'm using an updated database that puts us right at the end of the current season, where Barcelona finished second, quite some way behind Real Madrid. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know all the ins and outs of Barcelona's financial situation, so we're going to play by the rules that Football Manager has set us. According to Football Manager, there is a debt of just over 900 million. Reasonable. And we're going to be given a huge transfer budget of zero. Literally zero. We're also overspending on wages right now, so that's going to be a big issue for us. We need to get these guys off the wage bill. So the first thing to do is get rid of players who have got contracts expiring. So hopefully there's going to be quite a lot of those. But according to transfermarket.com, there's only 3 permanent players with contracts expiring. Well, Dani Alves can go. That's absolutely not fine. He signed a new contract in real life. Okay. At least Sergio Roberto can go. He's probably on a big contract. Why have Barcelona given him a new contract too? At least Ousmane Dembele is running out of contract and hasn't signed a new one in real life, and I imagine he will be leaving the club at the end of his contract in real life. There is one issue in game though. For whatever reason, in this database that I've got, he did sign a new contract with Barcelona, which isn't the case. Like, he doesn't have a contract in real life. I should be able to release him, but obviously I can't right now, but I am going to release him anyway because that's what would happen in real life, and it's what I was planning to do anyway. Now, if you watch my Manchester United rebuild, I actually signed Dembele for Manchester United. So what I'm going to do is move Dembele to Manchester United in some sort of weird cross-universe thing. So we're going to use the in-game editor to just move him to Manchester United. Pop him in there. It was a free transfer essentially, wasn't it? So he's now at United. But the fact he's the only player with a contract expiring is a bit of an issue because we need to get some big wages off this wage bill. If we have a look at this Barcelona team, these are the players that I think need to be kept at the club. Within the first team, there are some glaring issues at right wing, CDM and in the back line. And I know in reality, Frankie de Jong may end up leaving Barcelona for some big money, but in this universe, I do want to try everything I can to keep him at Barca. I have got some backup players that I think Barca should be keeping, but probably shouldn't be playing as a first choice. Players like Eric Garcia, a bit too young just yet. Serginho Dest, a bit too young just yet. Baldy, a bit too young just yet. But obviously, players like Trincao are back at the club. He's actually very good and may end up being the starting right winger, I would think. Depay, Ferran Torres, also good attackers in there, but they need to make the use of their really good, young, talented players like Pedri and Fati. All the players that haven't been picked, as you can see on screen though, need to leave the club. If you add up all of their wages, it comes to just about £1.7 million per week, which is a huge amount of money. We need to get them off the books. But before we do that, we need to talk about players coming into the club. Now, it is widely known that Frank Kessie is joining Barcelona, although there are some issues right now with financial fair play where they can't be registered. Apparently, according to Fabrizio Romano, they have been given assurances that they will be able to be registered for the club to play. So, we're going to do these transfers and get Kessie and Andreas Christensen from Chelsea into the club. These two are going to be superb signings, and I think Barcelona are going to need them. Now, as part of my research for this video, I have been scouring the players available on free transfers, given that Barca have absolutely no transfer budget for this upcoming season. And there's 2 players that I think Barcelona need to be bringing in that seem quite reasonable and Barcelona-ish players. Dan Axel Zagadou at Dortmund, at the time of recording, he is available on a free contract, and I think it'd be silly if Barcelona didn't even try to go for him. I would say one of the most underrated up-and-coming centre-backs. I think the fact he's been at Dortmund for so long and has been playing in their first team for so long, maybe people think he's a lot older than he actually is and maybe not as good as he could be, but at 22 years old, has a lot of room to improve. And for whatever reason, wants a tiny contract in the grand scheme of Barcelona, which I'm sure we could get down to about £30,000 per week. Like, if we just bump we can't even bump the agent fee up a little bit. I mean, it's a pretty nice contract in terms of a Barcelona player. If we get rid of unused substitute fee as well, all of a sudden, that's a beautiful contract. The other player that I think Barcelona should be looking to sign is Xavi Simons. Now, I do believe in Football Manager, he's just been downgraded quite a lot, to be fair. But at 19 years old, I genuinely think this guy could be a great midfielder. He's got a lot of potential, and I imagine would be fairly cheap for Barcelona to pick up on a free transfer. And again, at the time of recording, he is set to leave PSG, or hasn't entered contract negotiations with PSG yet. So obviously not a first choice player, he is one for the future, but it's a small contract in the grand scheme of Barcelona and probably a risk they can take. If I can just get him to agree on 10k a week, which he has done, I feel that's a good deal. Also, by the way, I hope you actually like my Barcelona shirt. A fun story, my dad got this for me when he went to a wedding. in Madrid. So the funny thing is that Xavi Simons has agreed to sign for us, which is fantastic. So has Zagadou, which is fantastic. But obviously we're getting Christensen and Frank Kessie on the grounds that they have already actually signed for Barcelona in real life. But in-game, they rejected us for Real Madrid and Tottenham. So I might have to use the in-game editor to get them to the club because they actually have signed for Barcelona in real life. I'm trying to make this realistic. Now I've not started offering players out yet because the transfer window doesn't actually open until the end of June. So I've actually started this a little bit early, to be fair. But there is an offer on the table from Nice for Moussa Wagyu, who I think does need to leave the club. And he's only valued at 1.8 to 3.9 million. I'm not sure we're going to be able to squeeze much more money out of Nice, but if we can get it sort of up to towards the £3 million mark, if we go 2.75, they accept that. Let's just get him gone. I think there will be a lot of cut price deals for a lot of these players. Right, we'll start off then with Ricky Puig, who is 22 years old on 66 grand a week and is not actually that good. The best deals coming in though are locked in at about £8.75 million. We might just have to accept that, you know. Even if it is 14 grand a week in wage contributions, we might just have to do it. There's also going to be some cut price deals for Martin Braithwaite, but on 99 grand a week, we cannot keep him at the club. The best deal comes from Tottenham. We can't negotiate it, but it's going to be around 11.5 million in the end, which seems about right. We'll accept that, offer the ultimatum to Arsenal, who I doubt will trigger that. And Chelsea are offering 3.6 million for Gerard Piqué on 105 grand a week. He's got a release fee clause, quite funnily, of 428 million. I think 3.6 might just have to do. But that wasn't many bids for the amount of players, 14, that we tried to offload. And most of the players on big contracts like Griezmann, they've not had any bids come in yet. To be fair, we might have to wait for like Coutinho, Pjanic and Griezmann to actually come back from loan before clubs will be comfortable bidding for them. So the first player to leave the club is Gerard Piqué. He's going to Chelsea for 3.6 million. Now, interestingly, will we actually get any transfer budget at all? But according to this, we do have 2.3 million to spend. We've got 60%. Okay, 60% of every transfer gets added to the transfer budget. Okay, that's fine. We will have some money at some point to buy some players. Now, it's the 1st of July, which means that Kessie and Christensen have arrived at the club, mysteriously. Now, according to Google, which is obviously very reliable, both these players are going to be on 6 million euros a year, which works out to about 5.1 million pounds, which works out roughly to £100,000 per week, which is what I've given them contractually. Zagadou and Simons have also arrived. Simons is not really going to be a part of the team this coming season, but Zagadou probably will, and it might mean that Clement Longley has got to leave the club, which is a bit of a shame, because I actually quite like Longley, I'll be honest with you, but he's on £95,000 a week, and if we can get 22 to 30 million pounds for him, it might be worth it. Now, Newcastle and Atletico Madrid are both offering 25 million for Longley. Can we negotiate this up a little bit? That's non-negotiable, and so we'll have to accept it. PSG also making a £15 million bid for Jordi Alba, who I'd love to keep at Barcelona, because he's actually still very, very good, but at 33 years old on £185,000 a week, I've got to let him go. The big players, though, on big wages, Coutinho and Griezmann, no one is putting bids in for those guys yet, though. And that's a concern. Oh, this is twice now that Martin Braithwaite keeps snubbing Tottenham. Like, this is going to be an issue that players just don't want to leave Barcelona because they're on some massive money, and Braithwaite seems to be one of them. Now, Atalanta want Pjanic on loan, and they'll pay us, actually, £23.5 million next season. I mean, I'll be honest, it's quite a good offer apart from the wage part. I will accept it, but we need to try and get him gone. Like, let's drop it to, let's say, 20 million. And Newcastle are willing to pay that 20 million. I'd rather he goes there. I've got to reject it. I mean, I'd rather have the money now and get him off the wage bill, even if it means less money right now. But currently, we have sold Dembele, Piqué, Wagyu, Ricky Puig, this guy's gone on the free, Jordi Alba for 30 million. And if we cross over into this new season, because I hate how this is done, just like arbitrary dates for when the season changes and transfers are done. But £45 million worth of sold players there in Longley and Pjanic. So that's what, 75 million. Now, it's given us £42 million to spend right now, actually, and we might need to spend some of it. Now, how realistic this actually is, I don't know, but we're playing with the confines of Football Manager, so we'll stick with this. We're still looking for a left back and a right winger, and then on the bench, we're looking for basically a complete midfield three to back up De Jong, Pedri, and Kessie. I'm trying to look for value for money. We're not going to be able to bring in superstars because they're going to cost a lot of money, but in terms of value for money, Alfonso Pedreza. who knows the league already, playing for Villarreal, who have done very well in recent seasons, so clearly is a decent player. Obviously not quite the star Barca would want, but at 8.8 million on quite low wages too, I think this could be the man. It just depends what we can negotiate to. Can we go 7.5 million and they want 8.75? That just seems to be what they have locked themselves in for. Accept that then. In terms of attacking players on the right-hand side, maybe Carlos Soler is not a bad option. Now, he is valued at, I think, £25 million release fee clause. Is that correct in his contract? No, it's 128. Okay, well, the scouts and agents are telling me 25 million. And I don't think we'll find better value for money than that. The contract might be an issue though. So if we say 21, just suggest that they have locked in. They want 25 basically. We don't want to pay more money in the future, do we? If we go 22.5, they'll take that. I am getting really worried about Griezmann and Coutinho to the point where I'm going to offer them out for 5 million, and yet no one wants them. No one. At least Neto's leaving. He's off to Krasnodar for 7.5 million. So that's another player off who's on, I think, 99 grand a week. Like, it's a lot for a backup keeper. I mean, what happens if I literally offer him for zero? Just take him off my hands for nothing, please. Nope. No one wants him. No one wants him because of the wages. Juventus want him on loan. And they'll pay 50% of his wages. Can you pay more, please? Can we say 70%? I don't want to mess this up. They said, okay, if they, 70% and give us 100 grand a week if he plays, or a month rather, and I'd take that at this stage just to save £275,000 per week. And they won't pay us anything. Can we go to 80% then in that situation? 300 grand a week? Suggest 70 is what. I'm going to accept it. It's literally the best we can do right now for Coutinho. We might do the same with Griezmann. Just offer him out on loan to clubs and just see if anyone decides they want him. I mean, I did literally offer him out on loan for zero. But okay. What do we do with you, Antoine? What do we actually do? I mean, at this stage, you're staying. At this stage, you are staying. Oh, I can't believe this. I mean, I finally got a bid for Sergio Busquets, but I've had to offer him out for $1 million. To get him gone, 200 grand a week basically in wages. He's got to go. I mean, in reality, genuinely, other clubs would be bidding a lot higher than £1 million, right, for Busquets if he was available. I'm not sure if he will be available in real life, but in this situation, he is, as Pedroza finally joins the club, taking a while for him to get here. And then also, Carlos Soler's also joined the club too. So at least those two players are coming in, and it does actually make us having a full team. Also, Coutinho out on loan to Juventus. It's a crap deal, really, isn't it? It's not very good, but it saves on wages. So with Pedroza and Soler in the team, that's the first team for me. Which I don't think is a bad first team. I mean, it still puts Barcelona in second behind Real Madrid, but they've got a better team according to the game than Atletico Madrid. So, I mean, that's something. Not quite sure how much Griezmann is playing into that, but I don't think we can actually get rid of him. Also, the one way that Braithwaite might leave the club is also on loan with a mandatory future fee of 3.8 million. I mean, we'll do it. Now, a lot of you were saying to me, Tom, why aren't you looking at the Barcelona youth team? I did, off camera, forgot about it. This guy's the only guy worth promoting, Abdi. They're all good players with high potential, obviously, but none of them are first team quality just yet, apart from potentially this guy. And so with just 16 million to spend, we need to bring in 2 players. I mean, if they just kept hold of Mariba, there wouldn't be an issue here, would there? What a class player. Do you reckon they'd be able to prize away Kochu, who is quality? I think he's underrated in Football Manager. He's absolute quality in real life. I'm not sure what they'd accept. They take 10 million, 9 million, basically 20 million pounds, that. If we can get that down to 7 and 7, pay a bit down the line, 14, they accept that. And then for the more CDM role, Stefano Sensi? He look, for whatever reason, he's very cheap in game. Physically atrocious, really not very good at all, but mentally, technically, really solid actually. And as a backup sort of CDM, this could be the one. Do they want to do 6 million? They'll do 8.5 plus 1.2 for basically 10 million. How about 6 and 1 for 7? And they're locked into 8.5 and 1.2. We'll have to do it. Again, neither of these transfers are like big mega Galactico transfers, but it's what Barca can afford. But when you've got to sell Sergio Busquets, who's been at the club for his entire career, I feel terrible. Sergio, I'm sorry. But I mean, if Messi has to go, you have to go. But at least Kochu's coming in. That's quite a quick one. It's £14 million that's spread over a little bit. We have to delay the Sensi transfer or adjust the wage budget, which we will do. Oh, God. And as Braithwaite goes on loan to Valencia, that is the final deal we're going to have to be able to do. Because the season's begun. We won 4-0 in the first game of the season, apparently. And so Umtiti, I've not been able to get rid of him. He just stays at the club. No one wants him at all. And then, of course, Antoine Griezmann is now wanted by PSG on loan. Right, well, can we do that, please? PSG coming in with... they've locked in... Okay, that's fine. Locked in 90%. Get him gone. And now that means Griezmann off the pitch. And I guess we will bring Soler on that hand side of the pitch. And then Trincao is obviously the backup. Ideally... Xavi Simons, you become the backup. Obviously, if I had the choice, I would not be letting go of Griezmann. I think he's a fantastic quality player, one of the best in the world, right? But in the situation Barcelona are in, he's got to go. And finally, he is set to leave to PSG. And that is going to conclude this rebuild. So, I mean, we've taken the wage bill down about £1 million per week, which is good for Barcelona. It's exactly what they need. Now, have I compromised on quality a bit? Well, yes, of course, I've had to. You have to. But I still think it is a really solid team, to be fair. Like, they should be able to do an awful lot with this team. Obviously not win a Champions League or anything like that, but they should certainly be within a shout of second place in La Liga, which is the bare minimum, I suppose. Season preview still has the club in second place, which is decent, so, let's see if they can actually come second. Right, I've put Xavi back in charge and I've simulated the season to see how he's got on with Barca. The good news is he is still the manager, which suggests he has sort of met expectations to an extent. And those expectations are the thirds. He's come third. Kind of comfortably third, well behind Real Madrid and the eventual champions Atletico. He's kind of done the bare minimum, and I suppose that's what you can only expect. Third place seems pretty good. I mean, Depay's gone on to score 20 goals this season. Braithwaite and Griezmann obviously out on loan. They've done pretty well. Carlos Soler, the signing we made, 11 goals. Ferran Torres with 10. Ansu Fati with 10. Pedri with 9 and 11 assists. And if we sort it by average ratings and players who have played more than 2 times for the club, Frank Kessie right up there with a 7.32 across the season. Not bad going. Looks like they have signed more players though. Mert Mulder's come into the club. Let's see who else they've signed. Just one other player they've brought into the club. Gonzalo Inacio, who's a centre-back. And that's like one of the areas that you don't really need to strengthen. On 120 grand a week. For how much money? 32.5 million. I mean, Young got potential, I suppose, but it's a lot of money. They lost the Copa del Rey quarter-final, as you can see there, to Real Betis, and actually got knocked out by Dortmund in the Champions League quarter-final, quite comprehensively 4-2 on aggregate, whereas Madrid went further on. But the final is to play between Man City and PSG, so maybe some of the Barcelona players that we sold will go on to win a Champions League with PSG. So there we go, that was my rebuild of Barcelona for this summer. Genuinely, that was so difficult to, one, sell the players, and we couldn't even sell all of them. A few of them had to go on loan in the end, obviously. And bringing players in is going to be so difficult as well for Barcelona. I'm not entirely sure where the financial situation for them is going to go, but it's going to be really tricky. So thanks very much for watching today's episode. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. Make sure you do drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new around here, and leave a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm. Until next time though, have a lovely evening. Speak to you all soon. Goodbye.